Eric's been writing all of quarantine. He's doing this album, which is a cool, like, experimental album. We're on a rooftop. There could be helicopters that could ruin this whole thing. It's like a live wire. It's exciting. But he's doing experimental stuff, so just go with it, enjoy it, have a lot of fun. Please welcome Eric Neumann!
The very funny Eric Neumann coming to the stage. Eric Neumann!
Oh my God. One more time for Dan Altano, everybody. One more time for Frank Favia, everybody, your host. Yes! This is great, man. We're on a rooftop. It's bring your own beer, bring your own pretzels. Do you have any idea what kind of mental shit I was going through downstairs, putting together a year and a half of material, a culmination of a year and a half, and I'm getting it, and I got it. And all of a sudden, the manager comes up and goes, somebody's eating pretzels really loudly. And that's not going to be good for sound. This is how we have to perform now. I told my mom that stand-up is phase 4, and she goes, I'm so happy you finally admit it's a phase. It's the phase of my life called my career, Mom. Thanks. That was actually a Long Island Jewish accent, in case anybody's wondering. Both my parents are Jewish. Turned out to be the only thing they had in common. You could laugh or be sad. That's... either one is appropriate. A lot of anti-Semitism going on now, and I only agree with most of it. If the Jews in the front can laugh, you guys can also. Stop having guilt about it. I was walking out of my building, a lot of anti-Semitism. I was walking out of my building the other day, and I saw my doorman, Mark. I'm only telling you this to let you know I have a doorman. Doing very well. I'm on a carpet. I was walking out of my building. I was like, hey, Mark, how's it going? He goes, not so good. I just got suspended from Facebook for 30 days again. The second he got it said again, I was like, it's probably his fault. It's a pattern, Mark? But I asked him, I was like, why'd you get suspended? And he's like, I just posted a quote. It was a Hitler quote. But it wasn't about the Holocaust or anything. Just a regular quote. I was like, oh, just a regular inspirational Hitler quote? Just a feel-good, uplifting Hitler quote? True friends are always there for you, Adolf Hitler. No, you can't. It doesn't matter what it is. And then he got defensive. He was like, whoa, my wife's Jewish. I'm like, yeah, she's probably the one who reported you on Facebook. Man, and Jews, like, you're only really considered Jewish if your mom's Jewish. Nobody cares about your dad. So my girlfriend's not Jewish, but I have a friend named Mikey. He's a Puerto Rican dude from the Bronx, raised Catholic, who's having a baby with a Jewish woman who has not celebrated a Jewish holiday in 10 years, but his kid will technically be more Jewish than my kid. His son, Jose, could become a rabbi who doesn't let my son, Shlomo, into his synagogue. But my girlfriend and I are talking about possibly having kids. You know, we want a couple Shlomos, a few Shlomies. We both have our fears when it comes to raising children. Like, my fear is that our kids won't be Jewish, and her fear is that I'll accidentally kill our kids. Like, leave them in a bathtub for too long or something. And she's right, I am absent-minded, I am irresponsible, but I'll tell you this, I am much more likely to keep them alive if they're Jewish. It must be tough, man, being in quarantine with kids must be hard. And also being a kid in quarantine with your parents, that's also hard. My 18-year-old cousin quarantined with his mom and dad. He texted me a few months ago. He's like, yo, I just walked into my parents having sex. So gross. I'm like, why? That's healthy, you know? They're happy. I always walked into my parents not having sex. That was concerning. My cousin should feel lucky his parents are making love. 20 years married, still having sex? Me and my girlfriend stopped having sex 3 days into quarantine. There's just something so not sexy about always being around. You're always fucking around. Day 3 of quarantine, she goes, what do you want me to do? I was like, all right, I want you to bend over, put your shoes on, and go outside. Just fucking go outside for 20 minutes. My cousin should feel lucky his parents are still having sex. And if he has to walk in on them every once in a while, small price to pay for family happiness, don't you think? You watch 1 second of sex and in exchange you get to go on relaxing vacations? I'd take that. I'd have my eyes taped open Clockwork Orange style for a relaxing vacation. Look, it's important for kids to know their parents are happy. That's why when I get married and have kids, I am only having sex with my wife when I know we're going to get caught. Exclusively. Right, my wife's going to make a move on me in the morning, like, hey, Eric, the kids are at school. And I'll be like, all right, well, when they get home, you're going to get it. Just put on some romantic music and unlock the door, baby. My mom should not have married my dad. She shouldn't have. But she was 38. She wanted kids. I get it, man. I get it. But for women, what I realized is your standards fluctuate a lot over time. Like in high school, they're very low. You're like, yeah, he's a drug dealer, but he's got broad shoulders, so I have to date him. Then in your mid-20s, you're like, I want a guy who has a good job, who treats me well, and who loves kids. Then in your late 30s, you're like, I wonder if my drug dealer ex is out of prison yet. He did have broad shoulders. I distinctly remember. I don't know how I met my girlfriend's standards. I'm just the worst. We moved in together about a year ago. We were looking for apartments. We found one we really liked. We went to the rental office. They hand you these applications to fill out. And there was a section in the application that said reasons for moving in. And I put, my girlfriend's making me. And I was like, Mom, we found it. And she's like, you're not getting anything until I see it first. So she was around the corner because she's always fucking around. She was on the rooftop at the last show. I didn't even know it. I swear to, she was up there. I said the joke, and then after she goes, hi. I'm like, oh shit, you really are what I joke about you being. So she comes up to the apartment. It's on the 22nd floor, and it's me, my mom, my girlfriend, and the rental guy. And my mom notices that there's no window guards in the window, 22nd floor. So she turns to the rental guy, and she goes, you're going to put window guards in, right? And the rental guy turns to me and he goes, I thought you said you don't have a kid. I'm like, I don't. But my mom does. And she really wants him to be safe. My girlfriend told me recently I talk in my sleep, which sucks because that means I'm at risk of offending her 24 hours a day. I'm never off the clock, right? She says she doesn't fully trust me, so she waits until I fall asleep and then asks me questions to get the truth out. Which is smart, but she should not have told me that because now I just pretend I'm asleep and fuck with her the whole time. Like the other night I closed my eyes and she's like, Eric, when are you going to propose? I'm like, in 2 years. She's like, Eric, who's that girl, Ashley, who always likes your Facebook posts? I'm like, the girl I'm going to propose to in 2 years. I kiss her on the forehead. I go to sleep. It's fun. It's a game. I don't know about marriage, man. Some people are fucking so easy at it. Like my friend, he was dating a girl for 1 year, just proposed. I was like, how'd you do it? He's like, oh, we took a horse carriage through Central Park. I was like, no, how'd you do it emotionally? Like, how did you do it? It's a different question. My girlfriend's been pressuring me to buy a ring. Ring shopping combines the two things I dislike the most. The idea of marriage and the idea of shopping. But I went to go look for some rings just to peruse. The very, very nice saleswoman helping me, she showed me a ring. She was like, this one has a lifetime guarantee. I'm like, that's what I was afraid of. I was like, what if it gets damaged? She's like, oh, we have a warranty. I'm like, no, the relationship. What if the relationship gets damaged? Also, what kind of damage do you cover? If this ring gets thrown across the room, can I still return it? Is it waterproof? We live on a river. It's going straight to the bottom. Gifts get so much harder. Like my girlfriend wants a ring. Gifts were so much easier back in the day, man. Like a few years ago when my girlfriend lived at home with her parents, she had a birthday and I bought her a bracelet. Not like a fancy Tiffany's bracelet, just a bracelet that I picked out for her at an art fair. And a few days after I bought it, her house got robbed. And I was like, oh my God, did they take the bracelet? She's like, oh no, they actually emptied the entire jewelry box and left the bracelet on the counter. I was offended. I was like, it's a pretty nice bracelet. Maybe they just didn't want bracelets. She's like, no, they took my Live Strong bracelet. And my slap bracelet from 3rd grade, that's gone. My mom pressures me all the time. Pressures me, she pressures my friends. She's like, what's going on with Jeff and that girl? They've been in something for a while. They've been hot and heavy for a while. They've been going steady for a while. And some other oldie term. What's going on with Jeff, you know? But then I have a friend named Mike. He's unemployed, can barely pay rent. I'm like, what about Mike? You never ask about him. She's like, he needs to focus on himself. My mom's very traditional about marriage. Very traditional about marriage, but not everything. She does not cook. Every night growing up, me, my mom, my brother David, and my dad went to a restaurant to eat out, and we could not afford to. Here's how I know we didn't belong there. At the end of every meal, my mom asked the waiter to split the bill 4 ways. I'm like, Mom, David's 9. She's like, Grandpa gave him a lot of money for Hanukkah this year. He can chip in. I grew up in a very non-traditional household. My dad wasn't the one who brought the money in. Either was my mom. Nobody brought the money in. I think you know you grew up poor when your favorite childhood game was stepping on crunchy leaves. It's October, they're crunchy. Let's get out there, bro. We were on food stamps for a few years, and Jews are often assumed to be wealthy. So we couldn't let our Jewish friends know that we were on food stamps, and we couldn't let our food stamp friends know that we were Jewish. We were hiding something from everyone. And I don't know how my mom ended up on food stamps. She's a pretty Jewish woman from Long Island. Do you know how many wrong turns you have to take to end up on food stamps? You know how many missteps? Very few people have screwed up that badly. It's basically my mom and Allen Iverson. But she's so cute. Oh, I love my mom so much. My brother just made her a Facebook page, but she has no idea how to sign on to Facebook. Literally no idea. So every time I write on her Facebook wall, it sounds like she's not around anymore. I'm like, happy birthday, Mom. I really wish you could read this right now. I have to have social media access at all times. My biggest priority in life is my battery life on my phone, by far. You know what I realized? Your battery life on your phone is very dependent on which phone you have. Because if you have the iPhone 10 and you're at 20% battery, you'll probably be fine for a while. But if you have the iPhone 6 and you're at 50%, you have like 2 text messages left. Works the exact same way with nationality, by the way. Like if you're 90 years old but you're Japanese, you'll probably be fine for a while. But if you're 68 and American, you have like 2 text messages left. That kills even harder in Japan. And Japanese people last forever, man. We don't. We have a limit. My friend called me the other day to tell me my friend, he's my age. He called me the other day to tell me his grandpa passed away. Not of COVID, just of old age. And it's sad, I guess. Like, I lost my grandparents so long ago. You had one until Tuesday? I feel like it's arrogant to talk about having grandparents in your 30s. It's like you're bragging. You're like, you have parents? Pfft, my parents have parents. I have so many extra parents, I don't even know what to do with all of them. So many parents I have. And grandparents are nice to have, but they're not essential. They're like the phase 4 version of people. Just non-essential human beings. You could grow up pretty normal without even knowing your grandparents. I feel like your grandpa is like your appendix. You could afford to lose it. Your dad is like your kidney. If you lose it, you'll be searching for a replacement. I wanted my stepdad to replace my dad, but my stepdad turned out to be a new kidney that my body rejected. My stepdad and I, we have a weird relationship. It's a very strange relationship. The only reason I would ever call him dad is because I know how much he'd hate it. It would simply be out of spite. You know how like kids like yell at their step-parents? Like, you're not my dad. When I get mad at my stepdad, I'm like, you're my dad. And he yells back, no, I'm not. Don't say that. It's a weird dude, man. He's a good guy, but he's got no social etiquette. Like, we all went to my girlfriend's family's house a few months ago. We walk in, my girlfriend's mom goes, can I get anybody some water? And my stepdad says, I'll have a sandwich. You guys remember what the options were, right? Water or no water. No substitutions or modifications allowed. He's so weird. This will sum him up. He does laps in swimming pools without lap lanes. In circular pools. What kind of psychopath cuts through children playing Marco Polo. Families are all freely playing in the water, and he comes in like a missile and breaks them up. My family was the first one he broke up. What was I saying, man? Grandparents. Yeah, I just don't think they don't have much of an impact. Nobody's ever been like, man, that girl's got some serious granddaddy issues. No, her and her father have a great relationship. She has a very strong male role model, but where's her frail, racist male role model? Where's that guy? Look, we all love our grandparents. I'm not saying we all love our grandparents, but most of us at some point have pretended they died to get out of an exam for school. I actually felt bad about that. Looking back, I sat my grandpa down. Well, he was sitting, obviously, he's a grandpa. Yeah. I was like, hey, Grandpa, I just wanted to let you know that when I was in high school, I had this exam I had to take, and I didn't want to take it, so I said you died. And he goes, I got to be honest with you. I was supposed to go to a funeral last month, but I didn't want to go, so I said you died. And I had to go to your funeral instead. He's like, in fact, you got me at a bingo last year, my driver's license renewal, colonoscopy. I've killed you like 7 times. 33 years old, man. I did it. I'm 33. You look, I love it. Zach, this is your friend? You look like you just came from a Pokemon battle. Dude, you look like you could play Ash in a movie. You look like you'd be his drug dealer. Gotta catch them all the mushrooms. My buddy threw me a birthday party in his backyard in June. This girl, who I have not seen in a year since she gave birth to her son, came to the party, walked over to me and my buddy and goes, hey, Eric, how's everything? I'm like, good, how's the baby? She's like, amazing. Haven't my tits gotten so big from breastfeeding? I'm like, oh, I'm glad you said something before I did. Pulls out her tit and sprays me and my friend in the face with her breast milk. Unreal, like a super soaker went directly into my friend's mouth, who she had just met 2 minutes prior to that. Is that not the weirdest introduction to another human being in history? By the way, my favorite part is when she gave birth a year ago, me and my friends who know her were debating, is she ready to have a kid, is she not? Can we finally put that debate to rest? Is it fair to say you should not have breast milk if you're using it to spray random people at a birthday party with? It should be taken away from you immediately. That's my favorite part. My least favorite part is I'm neurotic, and I Googled it. You could actually transmit STDs through breast milk. Let me explain something to you people. There is no way in hell my girlfriend would believe. She's like, you have an STD? I'm like, yeah. She's like, how do you get it? I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I was minding my own business at my party. I literally got one shot into my mouth. It was a run-by STD shooting. I was horrified when that happened. Horrified. And then I got to be honest. I went home and I Googled breast milk porn. For the first time in my life. For 33 years old, I'm Googling breast milk porn. At first, I was ashamed about it. But then I remember when I was 6 years old, I had a crush on this girl named Shayna, and she told me to lay on the ground, and she put her foot on my face, and she said, smell it. And I was so turned on. I wasn't hard because I was only 6 and hadn't started taking Viagra yet. But it's pretty impressive it took me 33 years to get to breast milk. I was into feet at 6. I should be into way crazier shit by now. And I'm only Googling breast milk. It's a miracle that I'm not ordering it off Craigslist. I'm not going up to my neighbor like, hey, can you spare any extra? I'm not walking up to women breastfeeding in the park like, hey, your son's not going to drink all of that, is he? No, I'm not into your breast. Just squeeze it in a bottle and leave it on my doorstep. My girlfriend says I'm addicted to porn. I don't think I'm addicted, but it has made me insecure throughout the relationship. And the other night, for the first time ever, she walked in on me masturbating, watching porn. And I was really nervous because I thought she was going to want to have sex and I really wanted to finish the video. Look, I'm not addicted to porn, but I do watch enough porn that if you're a porn star and I've never heard your name, your career's not going that well. I typed in Hasidic Jewish porn. Remember we were watching it, Johnny? I typed in Hasidic Jewish porn. One video came up. So here was the storyline of the video, okay? This non-Jewish guy was having sex with a married Hasidic woman, and I noticed she had a tattoo on her lower back, and Hasidic Jews are not allowed to get tattoos. So I was like, okay, she's probably not really a Hasidic woman. But in order to keep enjoying it and not ruin the fantasy, I just pretended like the tattoo was a huge part of the storyline. I'm like, man, what a dirty girl. She's cheating on her husband, and she can't get buried next to him. If he would have handed her a strip of bacon, I would have finished immediately. Guys, I'm so horny right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Super horny. I'm so horny. I'm just so fucking horny. I don't know what to do, sir. Are you guys in a relationship? Oh, okay. Well, she said no way before you did. So horny. What, you're not? My friends think it's weird when I tell them I'm horny, but it's a feeling, right? I tell them when I'm sleepy, I tell them when I'm hungry, I'm horny. But my friend Johnny is like this tough Italian dude from the Bronx. He's like, yo, why do you always gotta tell me when you're horny, bro? That's the most uncomfortable thing you could say to me. But he's wrong, it's not. You know what's more uncomfortable? Dude, I'm lonely. How much more uncomfortable did that just make you guys? What's worse, your friend telling you that they really want to jerk off or that they really miss their ex-wife? I'd take jerk off any day. Because at least that one puts less pressure on you as a friend. Like if your friend tells you they're lonely, you got to be like, you want to hang out tonight? You really shouldn't be alone right now. But if your friend tells you they want to jerk off, you're like, you should be alone right now. I'm getting the hell out of here. Guys, I'm good at sex, but I'm exceptional at sexting. Guys love to brag. They love to brag that they're great in bed. I'm also great in bed. Like when she's in her bed, I'm in my bed, and we're both on our phones. I'm amazing in bed. Some people are terrible at sexting, like Frank, who's hosting. Ugh. It's pathetic. He showed me his sext once. He had it all teed up. He was so proud of it. He goes, yo, send, right? This was the sext. Yo, girl. So you're already fucked up. The sex was, yo, girl, I want to have sex with your vagina so hard. I'm like, dude, you can't send that. You cannot send that. I just feel like I'm a tough critic when it comes to sexting because I feel like I'm more experienced than most people. Like, even when I was a virgin, I felt like the man over text. I was like, don't worry, baby. I'll walk you through it. I can tell you're nervous. Your typing bubbles keep disappearing. You learn a lot as you go about sex. Like in high school, everybody was like, yo, don't finish too quickly, man. Don't finish too quickly. Don't be a minute man. Now that I'm older, I realize like finishing quickly isn't that bad. Because you could always tell the girl like I was so excited I couldn't hold it. The real problem is not finishing at all. She's like, when are you going to? I'm like, never if you keep asking me. Be patient. Hang in there. That's why I think it's funny when girls brag. Like, my man could last all night. I'm like, yeah, because he's not attracted to you. Turn the lights off. He'll finish in a minute. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I agree with anything I just said. I'll tell you, it just occurred to me. I'll tell you why. Because like when I was with my girlfriend the first few times, like I had trouble finishing for whatever reason. And like one time she was getting really frustrated, I could tell. And so I fake came. I was like, oh. I was like, oh. Now I have a lot of variation. We have different options of me coming. Oh! So I fake came, and I'm laying on her chest. It was a lot of fake coming. I was very tired. I was laying on her chest, my eyes closed, my breath slowly returned to normal, and she goes, "You came?" I was like, yeah. She's like, are you lying? I guess I did a bad acting job. Oh, what, you don't believe me? Oh, why don't you? Oh, come on. Are you lying? And I'm like, why would I lie? She goes, where's the cum? Show it to me. She started searching around the bed for it. See, ladies, men fake orgasms also. We just don't talk about it as much. Every single guy in here at one point has at least thought about faking it. That's why I think there should be a product. You know, like fake cum in a little baggie. Fake cum in a baggie, now available in spray bottle. Do you guys remember those origami paper fortune tellers that we all used to play with as kids? Yeah, you guys remember? Yeah, exactly. Did the camera get that ridiculous shit? Because I think I'm going to use it, Brett. I think you're fucking going in, dude. I was like, you guys remember those paper fortune tellers? And he was just like... So when I was 10 years old, my friend Taylor read my fortune, and it said, you will die at 18 years old. And I laughed it off, and then spent the next 8 years in absolute panic. I thought I was going to die because a 10-year-old ripped a piece of loose leaf paper out of his Backstreet Boys Trapper Keeper and told me I was going to die. I was a wreck, man. I remember my 18th birthday, my friend was like, yo, we got to go party tonight. I was like, you got to go party. I have to start getting my affairs in order. 19, I was ecstatic on my 19th birthday. 19's not even usually a big birthday. 18 is. People are like, you get to vote, you get to buy cigarettes. 21, they're like, you get to drink. 19, I was like, I get to live. I'm glad I didn't die. I won prom king in high school. Won prom king. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh my God. Look, everybody just got out of their cars. Thank you. Thank you. I did. Yeah. I have a video at home of me winning prom king. And this is kind of embarrassing, but it was when I was in my 20s and I went on first dates and they went well. I brought them back to my apartment and played the prom king video for them. I'm cringing also, by the way. So the video shows me winning prom king. What the video does not show is me 4 hours later on my couch, jerking off and crying, wearing nothing but my crown. That was in the director's cut. My girlfriend hates that joke. I was like, why do you hate it? She's like, because I remember you showed me the video on our first date. How am I supposed to feel special? I'm like, are you kidding? Of course you're special. Of all the girls I showed the video to, you're the only one who stuck around afterwards. So the prom king election was determined by ballots. Every student filled out a ballot anonymously and handed it in with the student's name that they wanted to win. My friend Adam recently admitted to me that he rigged the election. He filled out like 20 ballots and handed them in. So I didn't really deserve to win prom king, which has caused me a great deal of guilt. So recently I called this kid Lewis from high school and I was like, hey Lewis, it's Eric Neumann. I just want to let you know I didn't really deserve to win prom king. You did. And he goes, who is this? I'm like, Eric Neumann. We caught up for a few minutes. He's a multi-millionaire now. Owns a tech company. Probably because he lost prom king. Made him hungry. He won second place prom prince. And he was like, I got to make something of my life. And I won prom king, and I was like, I gotta make girls watch this video with me. You learn a lot in relationships. You really learn so much. Here's one thing I learned in relationships. Whatever insecurities you express to your partner throughout a relationship will then be brought up to you again at the end of a relationship. Because my ex-girlfriend was always reassuring me. She's like, you're not going bald. That's not your hair thinning. That's where it parts in all different directions. I swear to God, the second we broke up, she was like, go die alone, you bald fuck. Guys, I'm really scared to go bald. I'm scared. Black dudes are different. You pull it off. You don't even need hair. You're good. You know what I'm saying? Is this your lady? Oh, well, that seems like an inappropriate friendship. Considering you have your hand in her vagina at the moment, sir. Your whole hand is inside her vagina, and you're like, no, friends. Again, strong acquaintances. Really strong. Yeah, we just have a connection. There's something there. We hang out, you know? Man, I'm so glad I have a couple black laughs on the recording, man. Black laughs are so black crowds are so much better than white crowds, man. They're laugh. I would rather have 2 black women at a recording than 100 white people. I'm scared to go bald. I'm scared. You know why? Because baldness is the number one way people describe someone. Right? It's just a fact. Like the other day, my friend was like, yo, Eric, guess who I ran into the other night? I'm like, who? He's like, George. I'm like, which one's George? He's like, you know, George, like bald, 6'1". I'm like, yeah, I know George. I feel like the worst tragedy could happen in your life and baldness would still take the priority. It'd be like, yo, Eric, guess who I ran into the other night? I'm like, who? He's like, George. I'm like, which one's George? He's like, you know, George, like bald, one arm. I'm like, I didn't even notice he had one arm. He's just so bald. He's got one arm? And dating's tougher for bald men, unless you're black. Sometimes I see a black dude with hair, and I'm like, this shit doesn't feel right. Friends try to give you dating advice. That's annoying, man. This is the one my friend's been telling me for 10 years. He goes, yo, Eric, you got to meet a girl before you become rich, because then you'll know she really loves you. He goes, look at LeBron James. That was the example he used. LeBron James. Speaking of baldness. He goes, LeBron met his wife in high school, right? So you know she really loves him. She dated him before he was LeBron James. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like there weren't signs. Becky, you'll never guess who just asked me out. You know that guy LeBron who's 6'9" and averages 85 points per game? Yeah, the guy who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 14 years old. Yeah, I think I'm going to roll the dice on him. I know, it's a long shot. I'm going to go for it. I have no idea what he wants to do for his career. I know for fun he likes to hop over school buses. Just for a career, who knows? I love NBA. I'm obsessed with the NBA. Kobe Bryant's my favorite basketball player of all time. Oh, man. I love Kobe so much. The day he died, I was so sad, man. I was just so hurt. And this comic I know saw that I was upset, and he was like, Eric, you all right, man? I was like, you know, the Kobe thing, it hit me really hard. And then he started being condescending. He's like, well, did you, know him personally or something? I'm like, no. He's like, so why are you so upset? I'm like, one thing has nothing to do with the other. For example, I know you personally, and your death wouldn't affect me at all. Plus, man, Kobe had so many great qualities. You know, great businessman, great basketball player, great father, became a better husband. So smart, such a smart guy. I'm not smart. I failed all my classes in high school, like history, English. I don't know like punctuation or grammar. I gotta be honest with you guys. The only reason I know what a pronoun is because the word has been mentioned very often in the battle for transgender rights. Right? Everybody's like, use the proper pronoun. I messed up at first because this person I knew from childhood recently transitioned from a man to a woman. And I was talking to my friend about it the other day. I was like, man, he transitioned so quickly. And my friend goes, Eric, that's the wrong pronoun. I was like, oh, shit, sorry. He transitioned so fastly? Fastly, quickly, which one? You can't get mad at that joke because it's a grammar joke. Got into a lot of fist fights growing up. I got into 11 fist fights, lost 10. The 11th got broken up right before I lost. So here was my biggest one. It was 7th grade lunchtime. This kid, Chris Sullivan, tried to bully me, and he was holding a fountain soda, and I slapped it out of his hand. It went all over his shirt, and he goes, "Meet me after school by the willow trees." I'm like, "This is Manhattan. There are no willow trees." But we meet after school, and he goes, "I'm going to give you 2 options. Either you get down on your knees, say you're sorry, and I pour this bottled water all over your head, or we fight." And I got to be honest, it was a 90-degree day, so I'm like, I'll take the bottled water option. And it was the right option because the next day I overheard 2 boys talking about what happened. And the first boy was like, "What happened yesterday after school? I couldn't make it." And the second boy was like, "Apparently Chris Sullivan baptized that Jewish kid." And then he beat the shit out of him. But before that, I got my heart broken so many times. So many times. I remember I dated this girl briefly in 5th grade. Last week I ran into her on the street. She goes, "Hey Eric, remember when I broke up with you in 5th grade because the nurse pulled you out of the classroom for having lice?" I'm like, "You mean the most devastating moment of my entire life?" "Yeah, I vaguely recall that." I remember I was so devastated I came back into the classroom and some kid next to me was like, "Eric, why do you look so sad?" I'm like, "Because Nadia just dumped me and now I'm all alone." And I swear to God, he pointed at my head and he's like, "No, you're not." I feel like lice was the first childhood STD. Right? Because you might only have it for like 3 days, but the reputation stays with you forever. You'll always be known as Lice Boy. And it's actually worse than STDs because they check you in the middle of the classroom and then pull you out in front of everyone. Could you imagine tomorrow you're at the office? That's the whole joke. Can you imagine tomorrow you're at the office? Can you imagine 2025 you're at the office? 2 nurses approach you and they're like, "Pull down your pants right now." Then 3 seconds later, they're like, "It's Krabs. You need to come with us. Your mom's going to come pick you up." Let's go, Krabs boy. Yeah, the Krabs group. I love that. I was always scared. Were you scared of STDs? Obviously not if you got Krabs. This guy's dick looked like a everything bagel. Oh, Jesus. Always so scared of STDs, man. Like my whole life, whenever I engaged in any sexual activity, the next morning I was a wreck. I remember the first time I got a hand job. I was 29 years old. I'm kidding, I was in college, which actually doesn't sound that much better now that I say it out loud. Got a hand job. Next day I went to the doctor. I was like, "Doc, I definitely have an STD, no question." Last night I was unprotected. He's like, "You said you got a hand job." I'm like, "I know, she didn't spray Purell in her hands. Can you get it that way? I don't know." Got the STD test. Here's the screwed up thing about the STD test. Takes 3 days for the results to come back. So every day I was staring at my dick in the mirror like I never have in my entire life. I'm like, "Has this red bump always been here? I don't recognize it." By the way, the more and more I stare at my dick, the more I'm amazed that people have the confidence to send dick pics. I've never sent a dick pic to a woman. I will never send a dick pic to a woman. On the contrary, however, I've sent a picture of my dick to my friend Matt 100 times to get his opinion on whether or not I have an STD. And he always had the same response. He's like, "Dude, you better have an STD because if not, I'm just staring at your dick for no reason. This better pay off for me." I'm like, "No, dude, this is serious. Do you have something like this on your dick?" He's like, "Yeah, I totally have something like that on my dick." I'm like, "All right, prove it. Send a picture of your dick back." He's like, "No, I'm not sending a picture of my dick back. That's weird." I'm like, "Come on, please." Anyway. Later that night, I'm in bed with this girl and a picture of Matt's dick pops up on my phone. She goes, "Why did a picture of Matt's dick just pop up on your phone?" I'm like, "I'm as confused as you are. He never sends one back." She goes, "Yeah, but why is his dick hard?" I'm like, "You know what? He did raise the stakes a little bit." My question is, how'd you know it was Matt's dick at first glance? That's my question. And you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming out, man. Thank you so much. And just like STDs, gotta catch them all. Guys, I'm Eric Neumann. Thank you so much, man. This means a lot. It's just tough, man. There's so much anti-Semitism, you know. That's why I ultimately think it's better to marry a Jewish woman, you know, because if I marry a non-Jew and I turn out to be a shitty husband and we get divorced, she's gonna hate Jews. I'll be contributing to more anti-Semitism. If I marry a Jewish woman and we get divorced, she'll hate me, but she won't be marching with neo-Nazis. By the way, I'm surprised those neo-Nazi... By the way, I'm surprised that we're recording. By the way, I'm surprised those neo-Nazi marches aren't just a combination of white supremacists. I'm surprised those... By the way, I'm surprised that those parades, I fucked it up the first show, I fucked it up again. I'm surprised those I'm surprised those marches, this joke is not gonna make it. I'm surprised I can't get this fucking joke out. That's what I'm surprised about the most.